charanai tulipunam sadharma samasthapatam Vandeham
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Aravindadalaya Taksham Bhagavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Hikamaniya Vishesha Shobha
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Asa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti
Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Padma Bhakti Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Bandamayi Chavadhana Mate Bandamayi Chavadhana Mate Jahara Prachadevai Ye Bhavatoriya Jahai Jahai Krishna Prapti Hoi Jaha Hoi Te Krishna Prapti Hoi Jaha Hoi Te Prapti Hoi Jaha Gurumukha Padma Vacha Tite Te Koriya Aikya Arana Kari Hamane Acha Arana Kari Hamane Acha Rate Aite Uttama Gati Rate Uttama Gati Japrachade Pure Charva Acha Prasade Pure Tarva Asha Chakudan Dila Jai Janme Janme Prabhu Jai Chakudan Dila Jai Janme Janme Prabhu Jai Divya Gyan Vijay Prakatita Divya Gyan हृदय प्रकटिता प्रेम भक्ति जावते अभिजा बिना चाहते प्रेम भक्ति जा प्रेम भक्ति जावते अभिजा बिना चाहते प्रेम भक्ति जावते बिना चाहते वेद गाय जहाँ रचरिता वेद गाय जहाँ रचरिता गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनर बंधु गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनर बंधु लोकनाथ लोके रचिवाना लोकनाथ लोके रचिवाना आहा प्रभु करो दया दे मोरे पद चयो आहा प्रभु करो दया दे मोरे पद चयो जांच को सुखी भुवाना या प्रभुपाद पति तपवाना जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमः सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे नमस्ते गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसति गौर भक्तवृंद चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसति गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Jai Radha Vallabha Radha Vallabha Radhe Radha Vallabha Jai Radha Vallabha Radha Vallabha Radhe Radha Vallabha Jai Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Govinda Radha Jai Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadramai Jaya Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadramai Jagannatha Jaya Nata Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadramai Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol 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 Nitai Gaura Hari Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Pariraja Stottarabhi Karna Bhaktivedanta Swami Om Pariraja Stottarabhi Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Jai Guru Sanatana Bhagavata Shri Guru Prabhupada ki Jai हमारे दाता की जय जय भगवान कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद देव राधा देवास जीव भक्तों की जय जय राधा कृष्ण गोपी गोपीनाथ राधा कृष्ण जी गोवर्धन धाम की जय गंगा यमुना की जय मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय राधे भाई की जय पुरुषोत्तम धाम जगन्नाथ अभिषेक की जय निताय गौर सुंदर राधा वल्लभ जगन्नाथ बलदेव शुभ दर्शनाथ की जय कृष्ण पूजा की जय मेलबोर्न महाप्रभु मंदिर की जय नाम संकीर्तन की जय नाम संकीर्तन की जय नाम संकीर्तन की जय सामवेद भक्तों की जय मेलबोर्न महाप्रभु मंदिर की जय निताय गौर प्रेम मंदिर की जय निताय गौर नाम गुरु सत्संग नाम गुरु सत्संग नाम गुरु प्रभुपाद जय
Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrayajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrayajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrayajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol. Jai Jagana, Jaya Jagana, Jaya Valadeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Radha Vallabha, Radha Vallabha, Sri Radhe. Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Samaveta Gaura Bhakta-vrinda ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanang Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narotaman Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Saraswatim Vyas Tato Yayan Udhirajet Nasta Prayesu Vadresu Nasta Prayesu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamai Sloke Bhagavati Uttam Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I think some of you are new, or perhaps I am the new one here. May I know who is the first time here in the temple? Nobody? You? Welcome. And also I can see some new face for me, So we haven't been here, well, at least in my case, I haven't been here almost 8 weeks, 7 weeks. I have some injuries, so now I'm recovering. So I'm back. So nice to see you enthusiastic. I also have to be grateful because when we were singing, I was feeling your enthusiasm, so that was encouraging for me. Thank you. Okay, so today, we will read the 6th canto, chapter 9, and in the board is text 52. So I thought if I read the translation first, then you will make sense what we are repeating when we are reading the text. Is that okay for you? So then we can be more aware what we are talking. Because I don't know Sanskrit, for example, so I just repeat. But if I repeat, at least knowing what is the meaning, it will make sense for me, and my heart will be more focused, my mind, and also the purification process can take place. Is that okay? So the text is 52, as we said, 6th canto, chapter 9, text 52. The translation is that saintly Dadyanka, who is known as Dadichi, personally assimilated the spiritual science and then delivered it to the Aswini Kumaras. It is said that Dadyanka gave them mantras through the head of a horse. Therefore, the mantras are called Asvashira. After obtaining the mantras of spiritual science from Dadichi, the Aswini Kumaras became Jiva Mukta, liberated even in this life. So that is the meaning of the text that we will recite. So we can recite line for line first, and then it would be easier for us. Sava adigato dadyan asbi byan brahmanikalam brahmanishkalam Yadva Aishvashiro Nama Tayor Amarutan Vyadat Sava Adigato Davyan Ashvidyan Brahmanishkalan Yadva Asvairo Nama. That's right. Yadva Ashvashiro Nama. Tayor Amaratam Vyadat. The last one. Sava Adigato Dadyam. Asbibyan Brahmanishkalam Yadva Ashvashiro Nama Tayor Amaratan Vyadat. Anyone would like to repeat, please? Sava adigato dadyam asivivyam brahmanishkalam Yadva ashvashiro nama Tayor amaratam vyadat. Sava adigato dadyam Ashvivyam Brahmanishkalam Yadva Ashvashiro Nama Tayor Amaratam Vyadhat. Sava adigato dadyam Ashvidyam Brahmanishkalam Yadva Ashva Shiro Nama Tayora Maratam Yadat. Ladies, please. Sava adigato dadyam Asvivyam Brahmanishkalam Yadva Ashva Shiro Nama Tayora Maratam Yadat. Sava adigato dadyam Ashvivyam Brahmanishkalam Yadva Ashva Shiro Nama Tayora Maratam Yadat. Sava adigato dadyam Ashvivyam Brahmanishkaram Yasva Ashva Shiro Nama Tayora Maratam Dhyayat. Thank you. So we can repeat now translation word by word. If you can repeat after me, please. Sa, he, va, certainly, adigata, having obtained, dadyam, dadyanka, asvivyam, to the two Aswami Kumaras, Brahma, spiritual knowledge, Nishkalam, Nishkalam, pure, Yadva, by which, Ashvashira, Nama, named, Tayor, of the two, Amaratam, liberation in one's life, Vyadhat, awarded. Translation. That saintly Dadyanka, who is also known as Dadichi, personally assimilated the spiritual science and then delivered it to the Aswini Kumaras. It is said that Dadyanka gave them mantras through the head of a horse. Therefore, the mantras are called Ashvashira. After obtaining the mantras of spiritual science from Dadichi, the Aswami Kumaras became Jiva Mukta, liberated even in this life. Purport. The following story is narrated by many acharyas in their commentaries. I skip the Sanskrit and I'll go to the translation. The great saint Dadichi has perfected knowledge of how to perform fruitive activities, and he has advanced spiritual knowledge as well. Knowing this, the Aswami Kumaras once approached him and begged him to instruct them in spiritual science, Brahma Vidya. Dadichi Muni replied, I am now engaged in arranging sacrifice for fruitive activities. Come back sometimes later. When the Aswami Kumaras left, Indra, the king of the heaven, approached Dadichi and said, My dear Muni, the Aswami Kumaras are only physicians. Please do not instruct them in spiritual science. If you impart this spiritual science to them, despite my warning, I shall punish you by cutting off your head. After warning Dadichi in this way, Indra returned to heaven. The Aswami Kumaras, who understood Indra's desire, returned and begged Dadichi for Brahma Vidya. When the great sage Dadichi informed them of Indra's threat, the Asumi Kumaras replied, "Let us first cut off your head and replace it with the head of a horse. You can instruct Brahmavidya through the horse's head, and when Indra returns and cut off that head, we shall reward you and restore your original head." Since Dadichi has promised to impart Brahmavidya to the Asumi Kumaras, he agreed with their proposal. Therefore, because Dadichi imparted Brahmavidya through the horse to the mouth of a horse, the Brahmavidya is also known as Ashvashira. Ananganati Mirandasya Gyanangyana Shalakaja Chakshuramitanjena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukankaroti Vatsalam Fangun Langajate Girin Jat Kripata Maham Bande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Vardhanam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaran Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhāgavatam Swami iti namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunjavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Well, thank you again for being in the Bhagavatam class. So we will try to share some understanding of this point. Previously, the speakers of Bhagavatam here, they mentioned, narrating the context of this pastime. So right now is Lord Vishnu giving instructions to the demigods because they were experiencing a very difficult time. So who knows what is the difficult time they are having at this point? Yeah, that's right. Vritasura was attacking them and they were hopeless because he was very powerful and the demigods, they couldn't defend themselves. All the weapons that they have they didn't have any effect upon against Vritasura. So they were struggling a lot. In that condition, they acknowledged their situation. So the best way to do when we are having difficulties is to approach the Lord. So the demigods, they did that. So it's something that we can also, to appreciate, we should learn from the demigods. Whenever we have difficulties, who we have to approach? To Krishna. Who else can help us? Only God, only Krishna. So demigods are doing that. That's the difference between demons and demigods, because they acknowledge that the only person who can provide protection, help, is God, Krishna. So the demigods, they did that. So they approached to Krishna, but because they were having that difficult time and they wanted to get rid of those difficulties, those tribulations, so they went to the Lord with that motive. Please help us. We don't want to suffer. Help us. That was the main motivation. So, but Krishna is kind. He reciprocates to them. They say, okay, for that we have to do something. And Krishna is it's said that whatever activity that Krishna does has multi-purpose. At this point of time, for example, when we hear the purpose that Prabhupada presented, like many other acharyas also commented, because very important story about Dadichi and his character and how it's related to Indra. Krishna, for example, told to the demigods headed by Indra, but in order to protect you from this Vritasura demon, that he is powerful, the only way to protect you is to make a weapon from the bones of this sage. Why? Because this sage, in the previous text, explains that Dadichi Muni wasn't an ordinary sage. He was very powerful. He has strength, but his strength is based on his spiritual connection with God, spiritual strength. He has knowledge about different science, and the Vedas, for example, give us different techniques how we can perform ritualistic activities. But the main point of the Vedas is also how we can awaken our spiritual practice, our spiritual relationship with God. There are other technical knowledge also that assist us to understand what is the real knowledge. That is the Brahma Vidya that the Aswini Kumaras they were asking to Dadichi Muni for. So in this way, Dadichi Muni, Krishna himself is glorifying him, acknowledging that this is no ordinary Muni. He has a spiritual strength. And because of that spiritual strength, you will be able to develop or create a weapon that will be able to kill Vritasura, only in this way. So imagine who will be volunteering, okay, take my bones, I will sacrifice myself for you to make a weapon to save your all. It's not easy to find people who will volunteer themselves, okay? I'll die, use my bones for your benefit. But this is the character of a person who has a spiritual knowledge, because understanding what is our real nature. We are spiritual souls, and we have different bodies, but more than that, that everything belongs to Krishna, and it should be used for the service of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna. So with this knowledge is that Dadichi Muni, or Dadyanka, is that he accepted to give up his body and be offered or be used for the purpose of killing Vritasura, because that was the instructions of Krishna. That was the main understanding. That is subtle points that we need to understand. The difference between advanced devotee, in this case, for example, Dadichi Muni, he was clear in his understanding who is God, what is the purpose of his life, and he was willing to serve Krishna in that way too. So this is one point, but also it's said that, as we said in the beginning, Krishna acts, he has many purposes at the same time in one action. If we remember in this story, it said that Dadichi Muni previously had some encounters with Indra. Indra was hesitant. He didn't want the Aswini Kumaras to have spiritual knowledge, because he felt that if somebody else has spiritual knowledge, his position would be like a risk. So because if somebody is more qualified than him, they can take over his throne. So Indra, out of fear, and in one sense also we can say out of envy, he instructed Dadichi, don't give this knowledge to the Aswini Kumaras, because they are only physicians. Indra accepted that only high elevated souls, they can have this knowledge, like Brahma or Bhrigu, those great sages, but very few, but not everybody. So that is the difference, for example, if we see the mood of our Srila Prabhupada. The mood of Srila Prabhupada that everybody should have this spiritual knowledge. And he sacrificed himself to all his life, because instead of staying in India at the 70 years old age, better be comfortable, just focus in my sadhana, practice my meditation to go back to Godhead. But he sacrificed that that comfort in his spiritual practice to come to the West to preach and give or spread this vidya, this Brahma Vidya, this knowledge for the benefit of others. So the same mood of Srila Prabhupada, that mood, that each also has the desire to spread that knowledge to others. But Indra didn't want it. Instead, for example, can you imagine what would be, or it would be ideal if Indra said, oh, you want to give this knowledge to the Swami Maharaj? Could you please also allow me to sit there and listen from you? It would be quite interesting. That would be better, don't you think? Because, okay, there's opportunity to receive Brahma Vidya, so I should also have access to this knowledge. But that wasn't the attitude of Indra. So, but the Indra cut the head of the Dadichi Muni, of the Muni. So in that way, Krishna, the same Muni who Indra insulted, the same Muni was the only solution for Indra get rid of the tribulations that he was experiencing by facing Vritasura. The same person that he insulted and he cut the head, now he has to go and beg him for his bones, because that's the only solution for his problem. So it's Krishna teaching many lessons in that way. So something that we have to understand. It's like, for example, the spiritual principle that we practice in Bhakti Yoga. Like Arjuna, he said that Arjuna wanted, they were preparing for the Kurukshetra battle because they were convinced, the Pandavas were convinced that is the only way how they can, for example, face the insults of Duryodhana and his family because they insulted his wife. They have to regain the reign because they were the righteous. They have by inheritance, they have the right to be the king, or especially Yudhishthira. So their fight with the Kurus was justified in that way. So Arjuna was ready to fight Duryodhana, the Kauravas. But once then Arjuna started thinking, no, why I have to do this? I don't want to do this. In the Bhagavad Gita, when we read in the first chapter, Arjuna then started thinking, no, I don't want that. Because, no, it's no good. And he presented different arguments why he shouldn't fight. But he was justifying, thinking that, no, because if I fight, it would be more like a material desires. But if I don't fight, it would be better go to the forest like a being, a renounce, so practice the spiritual life. Kind of that mentality he was having at that moment, Arjuna. So that's the same duality that most of us we have when we don't have proper understanding of spirituality. The duality of good and bad based on what we like. So that is the materialistic mentality. But Krishna instructed Arjuna, no, that's not the way that spirituality is. You have to do the same thing because you are by nature a Kshatriya, so you have to use the same activities that you have, but you have to change the mentality. Don't do it for your sake, don't do it because you have to fight and regain the throne, or you have to protect your wife. Don't do it for that. What is the reason that Arjuna has to fight? What is Krishna telling him? Why you have to fight? Duty, yeah, a little bit more. Why? Yes? Yes, but it's something else, the most important thing. That's right, that is the solution, the right answer, because Krishna wanted. That is, the devotees, they do things because Krishna wants that. That is the same principle that here we will appreciate in the Dadichi's attitude, and also in Vritasura. His why Vritasura is acting and how he will reveal his consciousness. So that is the point. When Arjuna has to fight, is because Krishna said, do it because I'm telling you to do it. But Krishna is not just a whimsical God, okay, I want you to fight and kill all of this, and then you do it for that. It's not like that. Krishna has his purpose. And if we learn about it, because Krishna understands that for all these people, or the Kauravas at that time, the mentality, the only way to purify them is also to be killed in a battle by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They already died. Well, when Krishna showed the universal form to Arjuna, he said, well, you see, Tam I am, killer of everybody. Everybody is already dead here. No? But just do it and you take credit for that. But because I already killed all of them, no? So you just do it. And in that way, it's for us to understand we need to do our activities, whatever we are meant to, or by duty, or varna, but for the purpose to please Krishna. That is the only difference that the spiritualistic person with the materialistic person. So we need to have clear understanding of that. So is this the same point when, for example, in this case, Dadichi, that Indra insulted him, now Dadichi will be the medium for Indra to get free or get relief from his suffering because Krishna arranged it in that way. So another point that we also can understand about this teaching is that Dadichi Muni talk about this Brahma Vidya to the Swami Kumars with the head of a horse. That's quite important too, because he said that Hayagriva, an incarnation of Krishna, he also imparted Brahma Vidya because he has also a form of the human body with the head of a horse. That's the incarnation of Krishna, Hayagriva. So in that same way, it's connected. So all these things are Krishna arranged in a way that everything is related and is connected for us to understand the importance of these teachings. And another very important point of this is the supremacy about material strength and the supremacy of spiritual strength compared to material strength. If we remember, for example, Indra, he got his position because he performed 100 Aswamedha Yagyas. Do you remember that? And for that reason, when Prithu Maharaj wanted to perform those 100 Aswamedha Yagyas, Indra, what he did, he stole one of the horses because he said, if he completes this, he will have my position. So Indra, out of fear, he also tried to prevent Prithu Maharaj to perform the Yagyas. But so Indra completed the 100 Aswamedha Yagyas and he got that position of the king of the heaven. So, and he considered that his strength is because of those fruited activities of those yagyas. The source of his power comes from that. But in this case, that source of strength that he had, it's nothing compared to the spiritual strength that Dadichi Muni had. So Krishna wanted to show that aspect, the importance of the spiritual strength, that this sage was able to use it for the benefit of Indra and all the demigods. But even that, when, for example, it said, when we will read later, when Vritasura was killed, is that the Varja Vajra, so the pronunciation is not easy for me. The thunderbolt, the weapon of the Indra's weapon, the thunderbolt is Vajra. Sorry, thank you, Vajra. So it said that this Vajra is made of the spiritual strength, the bonds of the Dichi with his spiritual strength. So when Indra was fighting with Britasura, Indra was hitting him like more than 99 times, but then it wasn't effective on Britasura. But Britasura, understanding that this is the desire of the Lord, Krishna, so I'll allow this Vajra to kill me. Okay, let's Indra to cut my head because look like he's used to that. Because when the 100 Aswameya Yagyas took place, it said in the beginning you have to cut the head of the horse. So Indra was used to cut the heads. Now, even, for example, in the previous pastimes, we heard that Indra cut the head of his spiritual master. Do you remember that part? Vishvarupa. So Indra cut his head, and now also cutting the head of Dadichi. So it's kind of, he's used to those things. No? So Britasura said, well, let's him to cut my head, no problem. Let's give him, let's make him to feel better in this way. So he allows that. But because in that way, he said, in that way my Lord will be pleased. Krishna will be pleased. So that's the way, even that Vajra, not so effective on Britasura, but took effect, killed him only because he allows that. The pure devotee allows that. We also can understand the mood of Britasura when he prays to Krishna, when he tried to reveal his desire from his heart. He said, my Lord, allow my heart and my devotion to you to be like the little birds when they are waiting desperately for the mother to come and feed them. They open their beaks and to eat whatever the mother is coming and bringing. And then he said, oh, no, my Lord, sorry, that is a wrong analogy. Because the little birds, when they are opening their mouth, they can open to everybody who can give them food, not only the mother. They want to eat, so they eat from whoever give them food. So that is I don't want that kind of consciousness. Perhaps allow my heart, my consciousness to be like the small calf that is waiting for his mother, desperately is looking for his mother, and then he can drink milk. Perhaps in that way, allow my consciousness to be like that. But then he said, no, I don't want to be like that, because the calf is running behind the mother, looking for the mother to drink milk, but only because he wants milk. Not because he wants to serve the mother, no, because he wants milk. So I don't want that kind of consciousness. He said, but perhaps can you allow my consciousness to be like the chaste wife who is waiting for the husband to come, and only by serving the husband and pleasing the husband and being with him, she will feel that fulfillment, she will have that fulfillment in the heart, only in that way. So that is the pure and alloyed devotion that Britasura is showing with those prayers to the Lord. So we can also understand those aspects of the high and refined aspect of devotion and service. This chapter is very beautiful, especially the next part when Britasura starts talking and his prayers to the Lord. So at this point, I will say this is what I can share with you. Any comment, any questions that you perhaps would like to add, or perhaps complain about something that I did say wrong? Yes, Prabhuji?
So basically Indra kills the head of the devotee, which is like, which is said that he's also Vaishnava, he's a pure devotee.
Yeah.
So he said that the killing, doing then how he gets out of these offenses?
Okay, a good question. Yeah, Vaishnava Parada, you're right. By killing or cutting the head of Dadichi Muni, he killed his own guru, no? Cut his own guru. But it's not like he's just going away without getting any punishment. He definitely suffered for that. For example, after killing his guru, for 1 year, Indra was doing some austerities, penance, because he acknowledged, he repented. Oh, again, I blew up because I did wrong. And he was repented, and he apologized for that. But he said that, for example, in case of Indra, he is a devotee, but he's not pure and a loyal devotee. So he repents from his behavior, because it's not the only way, for example, that we learn about the mistakes of Indra. Also after, in the future chapters, even in Tenkanto, he does things against Krishna himself. But in this case, we should understand that Indra received reactions for his mistakes. And for us also, of course, we know that Vaishnava Parada is one of the, I would say, the most difficult and terrible mistakes that any devotee can do, and we should avoid that. I think everybody understand that, and knows Vaishnava Parada in any ways. It's something that we need to avoid, and always there is reactions. Not because the Vaishnava is offended and he wanted revenge. Vaishnava is Krishna. He doesn't want his devotees to be offended, and he takes arrangements, not because Krishna said, oh, I'll punish you, because he said it's the only way how you can get purified, understand of your mistakes. Krishna is not a revenge father that he wants to punish everybody, you know? But he arranged ways for us to learn and purify our heart. He said, I was listening to one lecture of our Nitya Sevini Mataji, perhaps you heard him. So I was listening to one beautiful class, and she said, in the spiritual practice, whoever is endeavoring for a spiritual practice, normally we can say that we can expect two things, success or failure. But actually it's not like that. For a spiritual practitioner, should be success and what I can learn from that. So those two things are there. So in that way, it's no failure. What I can learn, even if apparently I'll fail, I did mistakes. So what I can learn from that. So it's not even a failure, because it's something I'm gaining some benefits, I'm learning something. So if we have that approach in our spiritual practice, so we will keep always endeavoring and trying to rectify, trying to improve ourselves, because the tendency to commit mistakes is part of our conditioning, always will be there. But if we always endeavor trying to improve, having that mentality, so that will eventually guarantee success. Yeah. That's one point. Another thing that perhaps, if you allow me to share about Vritasura, I personally like a lot this pastime, Vritasura. He said that, imagine if we go every day to the altar and pray to the Lord. We are trying to be devotees, practicing devotees. Every day we go and pray to the Lord. My Lord, glorifying, offering nice prayers. So imagine that the same God that you are praying every day is arranging somebody for killing you, to kill you. And you are aware of that. That is the position of Vritasura. He is praying to the Lord and things, but at the same time he knows that his Lord is arranging somebody to kill him. how you will feel in that way. I'm going to Radha Vallabha and praying, my Lord, please protect me, and you're the most wonderful, the source of everything. Allow me to have pure devotion to you. And at the same time, the Lord said, well, I'm arranging somebody to kill you. How we will react? Not so nice. And, oh, what could be? No, my Lord, I'm asking you for protection. But this is the position of the Vritasura. And he's accepting that and happy, because it's the way how he's pleasing Lord. And the same Daditya Muni. Daditya Muni also accepted, okay, I'll give my body, I'll give out my body, use my bones, because it's the way how my Lord will be pleased. It's a little, at the moment, perhaps for many of us, it's quite higher level of consciousness that we are not ready yet. But it's good for us to know the standard, what is pure unalloyed devotee or devotion, that we can aim to eventually achieve that. Yeah? Okay. Any other question? Yes, baby?
Hare Krishna, for the wonderful class. We see a lot of Prabhupada, he educates Krishna consciousness, Krishna consciousness everyone. But we also see in the 25th of Holy Names, lot of them says to preach Hare Krishna people about the Holy Name. So then why was like Prabhupada preaching Hare Krishna people like Holy Name?
Oh, okay. Did you understand the question? I say that the first part you said, well, basically is we should not commit offenses to the preaching of holy name, and the 9 offenses not to preach to the faithless person, and why Prabhupada was preaching to faithless people. Yeah? That is the idea? Okay. To my understanding for that point is, devotees are very merciful in the case of Srila Prabhupada. But Prabhupada wasn't preaching to faithless people who are aggressive to Krishna consciousness, offending Krishna consciousness. He gave them prasadam, or perhaps the opportunity to see a devotee. He directly didn't preach people who is against Krishna consciousness. He gave the opportunity to everybody, and eventually, whoever was ready, they took up Krishna consciousness. So, but more, my understanding also, and I heard many classes, that a pure devotee and the mood of devotees with the mood of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, no, because we're trying to follow that. Mahavadanyaya, the most merciful Lord. And even Lord Nityananda is going to people and begging, please chant Hare Krishna, and open your mouth, chant Hare Krishna. He goes to places where we can imagine people will be favorable for chanting Hare Krishna. And Lord Nityananda is even begging them. So the mood of a pure devotee, in this case like Srila Prabhupada, for them is, despite of commit offenses, it's not intentionally I want to offend the holy name, for that reason I'll preach to faithless people. It's situated more the compassionate heart of them is, my Lord, I know that you will be pleased if more people are coming back to you. So with my main goal to please you, and giving the conditioned souls the opportunity to come back to practice spiritual life, I will go ahead with these preaching programs, even if I have to face some kind of opposition. But the intention is not, okay, I want to commit the offenses against the holy name, or because my main goal is to preach. They'll give the opportunity as out of compassion to other living entities, and that way pleasing Krishna. So that mood is a little beyond that aspect. Is that is understood? Yeah, sorry, but I think, well, like again, the mood of Lord Chaitanya, the compassion for all living entities, it's out of love, goes beyond those kind of eventually offenses. That because we don't do it intentionally, nobody wants, especially a pure devotee, sincere devotee, they don't do mistakes or offenses to the holy name or they don't act with that intention. Yeah? But Krishna understands that the compassion and the intention of please Krishna is more important. The compassion to the living, to everybody, to the conditioned souls, and the desire to please Krishna. Actually, that is pure devotional service. Okay, any comment? Yes, Prabhuji, a question? Yeah.
Talking about Prithu Maharaj, when he did the sacrifice, how took away one of the horses to make sure that it will go ahead. What happens to, we talk about how the sacrifices are very, very auspicious, and they have to be done in the right way, at the right time, the right amount of things,
Yeah.
and it has to go through perfectly. What happens when, say, it goes ahead and something happens? Because there's always demons, there's always other more darker entities that want to not allow such sacrifice. So what happens when such a situation happens? What happens to, let's say, Prithu Maharaj if the sacrifice went ahead?
Yeah, in the case of Prithu Maharaj, Krishna himself appeared. And Krishna instructed him, don't worry, because after the horse was stolen, the relatives of Prithu Maharaj, they wanted to look for that and kill Indra even. You know? They were looking for him. But Krishna appeared and he pacified the situation. He said, why you are looking? It's not needed for you to endeavor for these fruitive activities. You already are an avatar, no? It's a Shaktivesh avatar. Your condition or your platform, your spiritual position is more elevated. Just endeavor to that. Krishna himself pacified him, all the situation. He took charge of that. That's the case of Prithu Maharaj. But for us, for example, in the case even Dadichi Muni, he was performing a fruitive activity for others, because not everybody is ready to accept Brahma Vidya, like the Swami Kumaras that they wanted. They were asking for that. But so the Vedas, for example, there are some prescribed ritualistic activities to get some benefit for people who are under the influence of different modes of nature, passion, ignorance, and they are not ready to receive spiritual knowledge directly. But with the idea for them gradually, eventually, perhaps 10 more lifetimes, they will be able to be more fertile for spiritual knowledge. But because we cannot force people to take spiritual knowledge. So for that reason, those fruity activities. But for a pure devotee, or a pure devotee who is more concerned about the spiritual benefit of the living entities, somehow or another, they arrange ways to facilitate the spiritual knowledge, their purification process, even through those fruitive activities. For example, there are yagyas in Mayapur. Every day, kids in the Gurukul, they also perform yagyas for the pleasure of Krishna. But the yagya is prescribed like a so-called fruitive activities, but because they chant mantras dedicated to Vishnu, to Krishna, so it's not just ritualistic activities for material benefit, it's for the pleasure of the Lord. Instead chanting different names of demigods, so we chant the names of Vishnu directly. So some are judgments that devotees, pure devotees do to facilitate those conditions so that directly they cannot receive spiritual knowledge. Like sometimes, for example, if we want to compare here, we cannot do a Someda Yagya in this age. No, we are not capable to do it. We don't have the facilities. So no qualified brahmanas. So it won't work for us. So what is the yagya for this age? What is the authorized yagya? Sankirtan Yagya. Yes, so what devotees they do is, for example, they organize Harinam program in the street to chant the holy name, to give the opportunity over everybody to listen about, to hear about the holy names and get some benefits indirectly. Or for example, when we distribute food, prasadam, not everybody wants to chant Hare Krishna either. No, I don't want to chant. For example, the other day, one person came to the temple 2 days ago, and he said, I want to do volunteering service. So, yeah, okay, we will help. You can serve prasadam, I told him. But meantime, you can wait because right now it's very early. We have to wait 2 more hours. So would you like to read some book of chant Hare Krishna? And he said, no, I don't want any chanting. I don't want any chanting, no reading, no, I don't like it. He was very clear. I just want to serve. And he wanted to distribute or give prasadam and take prasadam. He was only eager to do that. He will come today, Sunday, to do that, to help chopping vegetables, serving prasadam, cleaning, but no chanting Hare Krishna, no reading books. So it's a way how we can adjust for people. Eventually, gradually, they will be able to elevate their consciousness by association of devotees hearing about the holy name indirectly. Yeah. So, but by being engaged in devotional service, Krishna and devotees are arranging ways how we all get benefit and connected in the spiritual practice. Is that okay? Answer your question?
Just to follow up on that, what happens to when the sacrifice becomes not pure, when it's an impure sacrifice?
Impure sacrifice? But according to the Vedas, won't get the benefit that you are looking for. No? Yeah, negative. For example, in this chapter, we heard, for example, that Twasta, when Vishvarupa was killed, Indra chopped his head off. So Twasta was very upset. He wanted to kill Indra. What he did, he created Vritasura with the purpose to kill Indra. So in the process of creating, he did a yajna, no? In the process of creating Vritasura, he chanted wrongly the mantra. Prabhupada emphasized that. No? Instead, the intonation of the mantra, no, the enemy of Indra, no, producing a demon will be the enemy of Indra to give strength to the enemy of Indra. He pronounces a bit, as far as I understand, the syllable was wrongly pronounced, so that instead giving the strength to the enemy of Indra, the translation was giving the strength to Indra, the enemy. So for that reason, Vritasura, but that arrangement was by Krishna himself, that Twasta pronounced a little bit wrongly the mantra, but Krishna was behind that. So for that reason, Vritasura was able to be killed also, because Krishna was behind. So that's an example. When you don't do it properly, the rituals as it should be, the results are not what you are expecting. And Krishna is behind that too. Yeah? So that is part of the pastime. Prabhu, you have a question? Yeah.
So can Vitasura also can qualify for that, or as Atmanivedana? Because he was fully surrendered to the Lord. But still was getting, Lord was arranging to be killed. So is that almost on a similar lines, Bali Maharaj and Vitasura?
Oh, quite interesting. I wouldn't be able to say that if it's the same line, but we can see that some similar features can be that we can, some analogies that we can resemble on that. But I would say the Atmanivedana of Bali Maharaj, first is because he was all his positions were removed from him. And the aspect of Bali Maharaj mainly is that he acknowledged that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and everything belongs to him, and he offered himself to the Lord. Not just the position, because, he understood that everything of these material positions belong to Krishna. And Krishna was pleased with him because his attitude was, I don't have anything to offer because everything belongs to you, so please accept me, or accept my head. So he offered himself. To my point of view, for example, when you said it can be the same like Vritasura, that he wanted to please the Lord, he's offering, they have the same principle. Yeah, and Mani Vedana. Actually, but that is what every devotee does, because we understand that pure devotional service is that whatever Krishna is giving us, we just use it for his pleasure. It's not, nothing belongs to us. Any skills, any activity or facilities that due to services, everything belongs to him, and we should offer everything for his service, for his pleasure. Even if we don't have facilities, trying to understand, basically the mood, the consciousness is, if my Lord is pleased, I'll go for it, I'll do it. And in that way, Bali Maharaj also, because he understood that this is the way, the Lord is Vishnu, so let me offer myself to him. But I can't remember if he thought that in this way I'll please my Lord. In his mind at that time, to my remembrance was, but I did my promise, I have to fulfill my promise. That was the main motivation. I said, okay, 3 words, I have to fulfill that, otherwise I'll be a liar. So I have to commit and do it, the 3 steps, and so there is no other place, so myself has to be, in order to fulfill my word, because I promised 3 steps of land. The main is my duty, I promise and things, so I have to do it. So that's my understanding. Perhaps I have to revise more the subtleties of that, but I can't remember if he thought in this way I'll please the Lord, because Vritasura, he has that motivation in his heart. This is the way my Lord wants, I'll do it, I'll accept it because my Lord wants. And also Daditsimone, that is very explicit in this way. Thank you for your question. Any other comment and questions? Thank you so much for your attention. Granted Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindadalayatapsham Bhāgavatam Samasitam Buddhasundaranam Kandar Bhagom Nigamaniya Nishesha Shobham
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Anganiyasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnava Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitam Shtam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya